Musk is lying when he says he's so concerned about the bots. This is a negotiating tactic. When you say, oh, he's playing hardball with the board, they owe him this, blah, blah, blah. This is a negotiating tactic. When you say, oh, he's playing hardball with the board, they owe him this, blah, blah, blah. I think that is a load of steaming pile of garbage, or one of your other euphemisms.
I don't think he's lying at all. I don't think he's lying at all. I think if he's going to spend billions of dollars for this asset, he should get disclosures.
He should have gotten disclosures when he was doing due diligence before he made the offer to buy the company.
The never-ending drama of Elon Musk's Twitter acquisition continues. In this video, one of the most hilarious exchanges I have ever seen in the mainstream finance media. In fact, I may be handing out the Dunce of the Year cap for this one. There's a lot to discuss, so let's get into it. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store, so check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. So grab your popcorn, ladies and gentlemen. As I said, this is literally one of the most hilarious exchanges I've ever seen in the mainstream finance media, including some of the most idiotic comments I've ever heard, and some of the most reasonable and rational comments coming from a surprising source.
We have a breaking filing from Elon Musk regarding Twitter, in which effectively he is threatening to call off his acquisition. Why? Well, he says in a letter and in this 13D filing to Twitter that he's been asking for this information regarding their methodology as to how they calculate how many bots and how much spam is on Twitter. And he says the company has not been responsive. So as a result, he says, Mr. Musk believes the company is actively resisting and thwarting his information rights and the company's corresponding obligations under the merger agreement. He says this is a clear material breach of Twitter's obligations under the merger agreement, and Mr. Musk reserves all rights resulting therefrom, including his right not to consummate the transaction and his right to terminate the merger agreement. Now, this doesn't seem to say he is doing that, but that he could. So, we kind of knew perhaps this was a possibility, right? But this is the first time in legal terms that his representation has spelled that out, you guys. The reaction in Twitter shares, as you saw, is downward on the possibility that this might not be happening.
Well, I think, Julie, you see here Elon Musk continuing to play hardball with the board and with the likes of the management team over at Twitter here, as he should. I mean, this spam thing is a big problem. And I know it got disclosed to a certain degree in the company's annual report, but still, it's on Twitter to come out here and define more specifically how many accounts, how many bots, or how many fake accounts are on this platform. And by and large, they have not done this. So as somebody ponying up potentially billions of dollars of his own money to buy an asset like this, good for him for pushing to get these disclosures.
1000% agree. It seems quite evident that there's a major discrepancy between Twitter's public filings with the Securities and Exchange Commission, consistently claiming that the number of bot users on their platform is less than 5%. There's a huge discrepancy between these repeated disclosures of less than 5% and the number of independent studies, random samplings, and anecdotal evidence suggesting there's far more than 5% bots on Twitter's platform. Elon Musk is well within his rights to ask Twitter, prove, verify, substantiate your claims that less than 5% of your users are bots, or the deal won't close. Of course, given the fact that Twitter's board has publicly recognized it is in Twitter's best interest to accept this deal and close the transaction, you would imagine that Twitter would be willing to provide the necessary evidence to substantiate their claims. Yet for some reason, Twitter is unwilling to do so, hence the pushback from Elon Musk and this new filing.
As we're continuing to watch shares of Twitter move lower here in pre-market, it's also in tandem with the move that we continue to see in Tesla shares, as we know that the financing of this would likely be directly involving some of his own Tesla stock, and those shares are moving higher at pre-market by about 3.6%. But, all of these things considered, with regard to him wanting to or getting the necessary details in order for him to make what could be lower than a $44 billion acquisition at this point. Now that we're looking at this potentially getting back into Twitter's court, what does Twitter put out there? What did they say in pushback?
Well, real quickly, Julie, look, I've talked to a couple people inside Twitter recently, and they still think this deal is going to get done. But I think for it to get done, ultimately, they're going to have to give up some more information.
I agree. I still believe this deal is likely to close, but it's not going to close until Elon Musk has Twitter substantiate their claims that bots are less than 5% of users. And if for some strange reason, after all this poking and prodding, it turns out that maybe it's a little bit more than 5%, then Elon Musk is well within his rights to renegotiate the deal, because obviously, if you're purchasing a company whose primary source of revenue is selling ads to human beings, and it turns out many of the people seeing ads are actually bots who aren't going to buy anything, everything about the deal changes. The turnaround plan, future monetization, everything changes. So this is material to the transaction. Once again, I want to point out how odd it is that Twitter so far is unwilling to substantiate these claims and get the deal closed. All Twitter needs to do is prove their claim of less than 5% of bot users and the deal's closed. I mean, it's pretty simple, not that difficult. So why is Twitter unwilling to provide this information? It's almost as if Twitter knows deep down in their heart of hearts that they lied to the SEC about the number of bot users, and now they're stuck between a rock and a hard place. They want the deal to close. It's in the best interest of shareholders. But if they close the deal, they may need to disclose the fact that they've been lying to the Securities and Exchange Commission for quarter after quarter after quarter.
You know, I'm on the other side of you from this. And I think Matt Levine, columnist for Bloomberg, put it best when he said, Musk is lying when he says he's so concerned about the bots. This is a negotiating tactic. When you say, oh, he's playing hardball with the board, they owe him this, blah, blah, blah. I think that is a load of, you use these euphemisms frequently, steaming pile of garbage.
I think Julie has just described what's between her ears in the best case scenario. Elon Musk made a bid to acquire Twitter based on all of the publicly available information, which includes the SEC filings quarter after quarter, claiming that less than 5% of their daily monetizable users are bots. Clearly, if you're filing information with the SEC, surely you can substantiate these claims. All Elon is requesting is for Twitter to substantiate their claims because there's a lot of conflicting evidence. Many independent companies have done studies, analysis on Twitter users, and they seem to suggest significantly more than 5% bots. Practically every person on the planet, anecdotally, also has the same experience. Elon's just like, hey, Twitter, look, if you guys think it's 5%, that's cool. Just prove it to me. Show me the data that you use to actually determine 5% or less, and the deal completes. And yet Twitter is unwilling to provide this data. Now, I'm not sure how high and or dumb Julie is here. It's got to be one of the two, right? I don't understand where you would get the idea that Elon Musk is lying or doing anything deceptive here whatsoever. The dude's like, hey, Twitter, just please prove the claims you made with the SEC, and then the deal completes. And Twitter's like, oh yeah, no, we're not going to do that, Elon, because I don't know why, but we're not going to do that, okay?
Or one of your other euphemisms.
I don't think he's lying at all. I don't think he's lying at all. You know, I think if he's going to spend billions of dollars for this asset, he should get disclosures.
Yes, Brian, he should. And by the way, credit where it's due. Brian has done a massive 180 in the last probably 6 or 9 months from an Elon and Tesla hater. Remember Salty McSultan? Yep, same fucking guy. Suddenly defending Elon Musk and deploying his rational faculties rather than emotional. I have to give credit where it's due. I vehemently disagreed with a lot of things Brian has said in the past about Elon and Tesla. But in this case, he's spot fucking on.
He should have gotten disclosures when he was doing due diligence before he made the offer to buy the company. This is a red herring now. He's upset that the stock has fallen so much, that the market has fallen so much, and that he's paying more than he thinks that the company's worth. That was on him. He made the offer. He made the agreement to buy the company.
Now, I want to be really clear here. This is the single dumbest thing I have ever heard anyone in the mainstream finance media ever say relating to Elon Musk, any of his companies, any of his interests, ever, all time. This is the dunce of the century award right here. Round of applause to Julie. This is the most idiotic thing I have ever heard. I'm not sure exactly what's malfunctioning upstairs with Julie here. Maybe the entire system's offline. If not, there's definitely a critical error. Do I once again need to repeat? Elon made this offer based on public filings with the SEC from Twitter, and it turns out these don't appear to be accurate. All he's asking is, hey Twitter, please substantiate these claims and the deal can proceed. This has nothing to do with not having done enough due diligence before making the offer. This has everything to do with what appears to be, I'm going to say it, the F word, ready? Hope your kids aren't listening. Fraud. Just imagine if you decide to buy something, anything, an asset, a company, I don't care what it is, and it turns out some of the information you were told was true and accurate about the thing you're buying turns out to be false, misleading, deceptive, and fraudulent. Do you think that might change anything at all about whether or not you want to buy this thing and how much you want to pay for it? Of course. Now look, in Julie's defense, I understand. Her job on Yahoo Finance is to talk about things she doesn't know anything about. If the producers say, hey, we got to talk about this Twitter deal, and she says, I don't really know enough, so I'm not comfortable sharing my thoughts and opinions because I'm clueless. Can I at least tell everybody beforehand I don't know what the I'm talking about and then talk? And of course the producers say no, because that would make us seem less trustworthy. So Julie says, okay, fine, I'll just open my mouth and make a moron out of myself and get roasted on YouTube, and so be it. I think this is what we're seeing unfold here.
And he should abide by that agreement. He should have done his due diligence before he made that agreement, if in fact this is really the reason.
Well, there's only so much due diligence he can do.
Bingo. Yes, Brian. Holy shit, my man. We are agreeing, seeing eye to eye like never before. How is it that Julie isn't getting this? Honestly.
I mean, as Paul, when you get a deal, when you put a deal forth like this, you are entitled to get some form of information that is not necessarily public.
Beforehand. You can do that beforehand. That's what most acquirers do before they make the agreement to buy a company.
Dunning-Kruger effect. Let's move on.
They don't say, come on, this is more of the same. He's just trying to get a lower price. And it's a negotiating.
And it's not like he went about this the correct way. It's not like he went out to Twitter and went through all of the filings, the necessary kind of due diligence, to your point, Julie, as well, ahead of time.
How much dumber could this panel get? And by the way, Brian is a stunning exception. Full credit, the guy actually gets it. But these other two, holy shit, dude. I don't understand why such a huge intellectual leap is necessary to understand that if Elon Musk made an offer based on publicly available information, it turns out some of that publicly available information may have been false, aka fraudulent, that things might change about the terms of the deal.
And then additionally went through the necessary legal steps in order to actually present an offer. He did the exact thing that we would have expected somebody in an activist position to do. He acquired a massive amount of stake, a 9% stake, and then went out and said, hey, I am the largest stakeholder in Twitter right now, single shareholder in Twitter. And now going forward from here, yeah, it's a passive stake. He lied about that.
So, interestingly enough, Julie, the world's most intelligent Yahoo Finance anchor of all time ever, and I don't know this guy's name, sorry guy. I'm assuming you're a guy. I mean, as I said, anyone can be anything these days, but let's just assume that I didn't accidentally misgender our fellow friend here. They've both accused Elon Musk of lying. That's a pretty big claim. Usually the kind of claim I see from human projectors who themselves tend to sometimes say things that aren't true and then see those same tendencies and characteristics in other people when they don't actually exist. Let's recap what actually happened. Elon took a large stake in Twitter. He was then offered a seat on the board with ludicrous terms and conditions, including the fact that he wasn't able to increase his stake over a certain percent. Elon didn't like the terms presented to him by the Twitter board after acquiring his stake and had to adjust course accordingly because they didn't want him to get control over the company. So instead of Elon being able to have a meaningful impact on Twitter and improve the platform by having a seat on the board and a large stake, instead he was forced to acquire the entire company. There was no lying, misleading or deceiving people along the way here. But our guy over here thinks erroneously that Elon Musk lied. Julie said he lied. Guy here said he lied. Why is it these people are so fast to jump to false conclusions about Elon Musk? It's almost like they've pre-decided that he's a bad and or dishonest person and are looking for ways to validate their worldview. Of course, I could be wrong, but I am just trying to figure out what's the most reasonable explanation for their idiotic, completely off-base, incredibly dumb comments.
He also later on, and I think at the end of the day, it's just mind-boggling to think about how much he has actually just inflated so much of the thought around what he could do to Twitter and that he could bring it back, when in reality, I don't think there is anything that can be done to Twitter to eliminate the bots, to monetize it beyond what they've done. Perhaps there's more monetization that could be done, but...
One more time, Dunning-Kruger effect. I mean, honestly, how much of a moron do you need to be to say out loud that there's nothing that could be done to improve Twitter, reduce the number of bots, or increase monetization? Then, maybe a little bit for monetization. As an uninformed moron on the internet who doesn't know anything about anything, here's a few examples on how Twitter could massively increase their free cash flow instantly. Ready? Get rid of the dead weight. Twitter is an extremely bloated company. Everyone knows this. Half the employees are too busy working, aka bludging from home, singing Kumbaya in the corner, taking stress leave because of all the hate speech from Elon Musk trying to kill their company and destroy their livelihoods and end free speech and kill democracy and blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't mean to be offensive to the Twitter engineers and employees there, but let's be honest. You guys and girls know that 20% of the employees are doing 80% of the work. Cut half the workforce, no one would notice outside the company and suddenly you'd halve your overhead. Massive increase in cash flow. Then there's the option of charging businesses or large accounts to reach their audience. There's also Twitter Premium as an option. As for getting rid of bots, I mean, holy fuck, dude. Really? How about you have an algorithm that detects how quickly something or somebody is replying to a tweet? You notice consistencies, the same message from the same account on different things, all to do with crypto. Oh, maybe we should flag those as bots. I mean, dude, seriously, there is a lot of room for improvement. Twitter is an absolute dumpster fire. Even the people that work at Twitter know that. How else could we reduce the number of bots? Oh, here's a fucking crazy idea. How about you give people the option to verify their accounts as a real, genuine human by uploading ID? Not ID that needs to be shared publicly. People can still remain anonymous, but behind the scenes, Twitter can tick a box. This is definitely a human. They have verified their actual government ID. Real human. Now there's an obvious and immediate distinction on Twitter's backend between accounts that are definitely human and haven't verified that they're human or not. What if we go a step further and allow people on Twitter, users, to decide whether or not they want to get notified or even see any content from any accounts that haven't verified themselves as humans? Imagine hypothetically you say, you know what? No, I don't want to see anything from any of these accounts. I could literally make a 4-hour video about ways you could reduce the number of bots and increase monetization on Twitter. I mean, bro, how about some video content? Premium video content people can subscribe. I mean, I could literally keep going. It's not that hard. It's really not. Of course, Twitter's main focus over the last few years appears to have been subverting democracy, not actually improving the service, reducing bots, or increasing their profitability. Did I say that out loud? Nah, you imagine that.
What is he going to do to actually make that happen?
It's Elon Musk. He's sending rockets into the world. You would have to believe that he can figure something along these lines. This guy helped co-found PayPal.
Stunningly reasonable comments here from Brian. I got to give credit where it's due. In the past, I have roasted this guy relentlessly on his comments about Elon and Tesla, but in this case, he's absolutely spot on. He's making logical and reasonable and rational statements, which is more than I can say for the other two on this panel, who stunningly still are employed. Yes, the bar isn't that high if you want to join one of the Yahoos on Yahoo Finance. And I do want to be super clear here. I'm never attacking people personally. I mean, I'm sure Julie would be great fun to hang out with, despite the fact that she said some of the dumbest shit I've ever heard anyone ever say in the mainstream finance media. And same with the other dude as well. Never met the guy. I'm sure it'd be fun to hang out with. So I'm never attacking the people. Just the absolutely idiotic, moronic, stupendously dumb comments and thoughts regarding Twitter, Elon Musk, and the acquisition. Say dumb shit, get roasted. That's how it works. So I hope you guys and girls have enjoyed the video. I have a problem where if I see something incredibly dumb said about something that I have very strong opinions about and am fairly well informed about, I just can't not make content responding. The good news or the bad news, depending on whether or not you care about this, is there's plenty more idiotic things that have been said about this deal, which I'll be covering later today. So stay tuned for those. And lastly, don't forget to join Patreon with the card in the corner or the link at the pinned comment. If you thought these are unvarnished thoughts, well, just wait till you see the kind of stuff I discuss on regular Patreon Q&As. And of course, everyone on Patreon also gains instant up-to-date access to my Tesla stock price targets out over the next decade. So see you over on Patreon, unless you're too scared to hear what I really think. I'm Stephen Mark Ryan. This is Solving the Money Problem, and I love you all. P.S. Once again, round of applause to Brian. I am just amazed to see this guy actually making sense now about Elon Musk. I think over time we're going to see many other people in the mainstream finance media make the same 180. Some might take a little bit longer than others, but better late than never. Give it a few years' time, maybe the better part of a decade, and I think most people will widely appreciate Elon Musk as a genius, pioneer, and an extremely honest person. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy these videos, there's a bunch of ways you can support the channel, access exclusive content and perks, and get some free stocks and crypto. Check out the links in the pinned comment below. You can also pick up some Tesla, Elon, and investment themed merch in the merch store. If you want to take it to the next level, join thousands of members on Patreon to gain exclusive access to over 100 Q&A videos, loads of exclusive content, exclusive access to my up-to-date 10-year Tesla stock price targets, and even access my Tesla valuation model at the investor support level and above. So check out the links in the pinned comment below, and thanks for your support. And if you're still watching, you're awesome. I read every single comment on this channel and I really appreciate your feedback. So if you've got any thoughts on today's video, questions, comments, or suggestions for a new video, let me know in the comments below. Check the cards on screen now to browse the merch store, join Patreon, or watch the next video.